welcome to another beautiful day. Another beautiful day of magic and wonder. A day where, coming from a place of heart and directing our mind, we create magic. This is the essence of who we are. Joy, love, and bliss coming from heart. This is the longest journey we'll ever take, is from our minds back to our hearts. And so today we continue with that journey as we develop more and more practices around living in the moment, living from our hearts, living without all the agitation and fear that pervades our society and our minds, and allowing all of that to go away. So part of today, I wanted to introduce you to a practice that will help clear out the sinuses. We're doing a lot of breathing exercises, and I know it's winter season in a lot of places around the world, in places where people can get congested. We're eating a lot of foods that may actually congest us. We're experiencing environmental toxins and all sorts of things, pollution, perhaps mold, and other things. And we want to clear out our nasal passages. So this is an ancient practice, as in all of the things that I'm sharing with you. This is actually nothing new, but it may be new to you. And it's something that's transformed my life as far as dealing with congestion. I've had sinus issues since I was a little kid. I had a staph infection in my nose, which created a lot of scarring until I finally had a lot of the scarring removed surgically so that I could breathe through my nose. And it turns out breathing through the nose is terribly important. Terribly as in wonderfully important, as that it really helps balance the brain and helps us live in the moment and not in an agitated fight or flight mode. So, as some people may know it as neti pot, it's basically a sinus flush with water, and I happen to have a small little cute little neti pot. I don't know if this was originally intended as a teapot, because it's a tiny little teapot if it is a teapot, but it works perfectly as a neti pot. I'm almost thinking it was designed as a neti pot. It's some Chinese little pot. It has this like perfect little seal. But honestly, you can use almost any little, even squirt spray bottle. They actually sell them in the pharmacies, a little neti pot spray bottle, or a little spray bottle. And then they'll also sell you little packets of salt, because you want to make it the pH of your system, and your system is a little bit saline. And but you can just use salt. I use sea salt, and I take a little, like, quarter teaspoon of it and put it in here when I fill it with warm water. And then the process really is to do this over the sink. And if somebody really wants to watch me do it and hopefully not be totally grossed out, it's actually pretty simple. But I'll just demonstrate what it looks like, and then you can go and try it yourself. But if you're suffering from sinus congestion, what it does is it loosens up all the dried up, as well as super liquid mucus that builds up in the sinus passages, and it allows it to flush out. And it's like a continuous stream of water that you're pouring in and through one nostril, and it can come out the other nostril, because the sinuses are connected from one side to the other. So as you pour it into one nostril, it comes out the other nostril. And if you tip it back a little bit, it'll actually go back to the back of the sinuses that are at the back of the nasal passage, just above the throat, and it'll loosen and dislodge the mucus that is built up back there, because it turns out there's a bunch back there. And it's like, whoa, that that's actually been sitting back there a lot. So if you're suffering from a recurring cold or recurring congestion, by pouring this through and letting it run, like an entire pot run through one nostril, and then doing the other side and letting the pot run through the other nostril, you'll loosen all of that up, and you'll, like, you can spit it out. It'll dislodge that stuff that's been stuck there for a long time, because it's like it's infecting itself almost. It's like, because we're never, unless we're fully flushing it out, it just kind of reinfects everything over and over and over again. So even though we may be blowing our nose with a Kleenex, or just, you know, sniffling or whatever, this really flushes it out and gives kind of the nasal passages, the mucous membranes, a chance to, like, be clean of all of that stuff. And if there's still more that's being flushed out of the system, it'll flush out. So it may, like, build up again as your body is, like, plowing out and pushing out the white blood cells, the dead white blood cells that have, like, taken out whatever germs and gunk that's been in the system. Because your lymphatic system is larger than your cardiovascular system. So we have a pump in our body for our cardiovascular system. It's our hearts. Our hearts pump the blood through our system. We need that continuously flowing through our system. But the lymphatic system does not have a pump other than walking, moving up and down. And so most people don't walk very much. Our natural state of being has been to walk everywhere, and in modern society, and a lot in cold environments and in very hot environments. In the United States especially, because people have cars and love cars, we jump into our car and we drive 3 blocks to get somewhere instead of just walking there. We might drive to the mall and maybe do a little walking in the mall, and we jump into the car and we drive back. But that's very little walking. On average, Americans walk only 2,000 steps a day, whereas in Europe, people are walking about 12,000 steps a day. And that motion up and down is what pumps the lymphatic system. It's like the lymphatic system. The stuff, as you move up and down, it pumps through the system. So you have all of these lymph nodes, and they're all connected, and they're, like, pumping out. And one of the places that it pumps out, especially for A blood types, is through the sinuses. So if you have an A blood type, a lot of your garbage collection is in your mucous membranes, in your nasal passages. So people with A blood type may experience more congestion. Like I am an A blood type, I'll experience more congestion than, let's say, an O blood type or a B blood type. And but everybody has the same kind of lymphatic system that requires this pumping. And so it's about how to move that out. And this being the garbage collection system, the lymphatic system being kind of the garbage collection system and disposal system, it's got to pump, it's got to move up and down. And so people, when they're very ill, one of the things that they do in kind of a more holistic fashion to treat their illness is to jump on these little tiny trampolines and jump on those 20 minutes a day. That's the equivalent of about 2 hours of walking. So you can get a lot of pump with, like, jumping up and down on a little trampoline. So that's something to consider if you've got an issue that is kind of a chronic issue that needs to be flushed out of the body. So a lot of information this morning, but again, if you can get a little pod or a little squirt bottle and just get some sea salt in a bag. I put it into a little shot glass so I can have it in the bathroom, and put a little quarter teaspoon into the water and turn it around, put it in the pot. And then what you do is you take it and you put it into one nostril and you go and just let it pour out. And it feels a little bit strange the first time, but if the water's warm, it's actually really pleasant. And so you pour it out over the sink, and voila, you're getting out a lot of this gunk that's been stuck in there, dried, boogers and stuff like that. Loosen up and flush out, and you can blow it out, blow it into the sink, and then you'll do the other side, pour, 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 pour. If you tip your head back a little bit while you do it, maybe it's going to run down your face a little bit. Who cares? You're going to shower. So you pour, 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 and then you blow it out, blow it out. And it really does a lot to clear up the sinuses. You know, you've got these different sinus cavities. It helps clear out that gunk. And you feel fresh and alive and loving life more as you're taking care of the movement of garbage out of your system. So another lesson for today, and people want to leave comments and let me know how that works for them. I'd love to hear how you feel about that. So as with every morning, I love to share the I Ching with everybody. The I Ching is an app. Actually, the I Ching is an ancient divination practice from China, and I like to read the I Ching from Brian Brown Walker. It's a little app that you can get on your phone, so you can carry it around. And they used to, I believe, throw sticks and then look at the arrangement of the sticks and use that to determine which hexagram to read. But so these are 64 different hexagrams, if you look. So each one has a different message, and depending upon the message from the universe, whatever happens is like a message from you. Like whatever happens in life is a message for you to notice and for you to appreciate and learn from. Everything is a beautiful lesson, like cosmically created just for you. Our being here today is just for you, and I'm sharing this just for you. So we go to the little consult, and we love hitting these little buttons, these little coins, which then bring up our message of the day. So here we are. And we have a message, 2123. 2123. So 21 is biting through Shiho. I may not be pronouncing that correctly, but any Chinese scholars can correct me. And so the primary message today is Shiho, biting through. And so we sit and take our message today and contemplate on that. So the message today is biting through. There is an obstacle to the expression of truth. Withdraw into quietness allows the sage to moderate. Unity has been broken by one who is not being true to proper principles. This may be another or an element in one's own personality or both. In any case, serious misfortune may result if the appropriate response is not made. The I Ching is very clear about what our proper action is when confronted with an obstacle of this nature. Withdraw into contemplation and a turning over the matter to the higher power for resolution. This is a time when aggressive action or intervention can only compound the misfortune. Use your strength to clearly separate yourself from incorrectness and realign yourself with the sage. It is always our responsibility to acknowledge where something has gone wrong, but never our right to punish. The administration of justice is the sole province of the deity. The I Ching teaches us to forgive, but not to forget. This does not mean one who reveals himself as inferior today should be regarded as such tomorrow. It means that we are wise to pay conscious attention to the waxing and waning of truth in oneself and others. When truth predominates, we can progress. is eclipsed, we are obligated to withdraw and surrender the matter to the sage. And then we get messages, nuanced messages with each of these kind of primary messages. And so we get the first line and the fourth line today. The first line says, "It is wise to learn from the first mistake. Repeating or persisting in it will compound the severity of misfortune that follows it." Fourth line, "A correction is underway. Neither harshness nor careless relaxation is in order. Instead, persevere in a moderate and balanced fashion. The difficulties will be surmounted if you do so." And then further guidance from the Wei Wu Wei Ching. Very poetic. "Every breath, each movement, all activity is completely, inseparably interwoven with enlightenment. Complete realization is bound into every petty difficulty and wholly liberated and illuminated through quiet awareness of that fact." So that's the primary message of today. And then we go into Po, which I believe we got yesterday as well. Interesting, right? Po, splitting apart. "Do not attempt to intervene now. A period has been entered when inferior influences will prevail. Even a superior person who seeks to act now will be undermined by the time. There is no reason to resist this state of affairs. Indeed, it is natural that the inferior elements periodically come to the fore. Adversity is often a stimulant to our spiritual growth. And what is important is the spirit in which we meet it. When challenging situations come to call, we are often overwhelmed with feelings of anxiety, doubt, and fear. We fear that if we do not act immediately and vigorously, we will be ruined. We doubt the power of the creative to resolve the situation favorably. It is when we act upon these feelings that we engage in splitting apart. We split apart from our spiritual path, our devotion to the higher power, and the wisdom of patient non-action in the face of difficulty. If you take this course now, you will prevent the creative from coming to your aid and unnecessarily increase your misfortune. The guide to proper behavior at such times lies in the image of the hexagram, which is mountain over earth. By keeping as still and quiet as a mountain, by resting firmly on your foundation of proper principles, by accepting the nature of the time and not resisting it, you weather all storms. By trusting in non-action, acceptance, and patience, you gain the strength of the very earth. And from the Wei Wu Wei Ching, cogitation, making judgments, following patterns, firing arrows, engaging in endless ideation and emotional behavior. All these are to be abandoned and transcended on the way. Be still, be non-doing. A clear and open state of freedom will appear. It's a beautiful lessons from the morning from Brian Brown Walker's translation of the I Ching, if you get a chance to get this app. So good. He has a bunch of other apps too, which are the Tao Te Ching, the Hua Hu Ching, again, sorry, I'm probably mangling the Chinese, The Art of War, which many are familiar with as a guide to business and life, as well as war. But metaphorically speaking, it's kind of a guide to dealing with management and teams and together and our projects, as well as the Wei Wu Wei Jing. Other apps that I have in my spirit folder, you can see my spirit folder. I don't know if you can read those, probably not. But I have a insight timer, which is a meditation timer, beautiful timer with gongs, a chakra tuner, which plays different sounds for the different chakras, or each chakra has its own frequency, like right, and so, and then if you've ever heard of binaural beats are amazing. I don't know if you've ever tried them. Binaural beats play these oscillating sounds in the ears, and they're like, but different frequencies put in the ears put the brain into different brain states, and these binaural beats app that I have is called Brainwave, and it has all of these different kind of binaural beats. You could do calm reflection, you could do brainstorming, you could do critical thinking, you could do an espresso shot, you can do power nap, you can do gamma, theta, night meditation, night reading, and so on. And what I like to do is, because the phone can be a huge distraction, you've probably heard of these dopamine fasts and things like that, where people are trying to like stop using their phones. What I like to do is I'd like to put on some binaural beats and like put my phone like away, where I can put it on do not disturb, so phone calls and things like that won't interrupt my typing and workflow. And yeah, the binaural beats gets me into a particular brain state, and they're super useful. So another little beautiful thing to try. So beautiful. So I don't know if everybody has been trying the experimenting with the morning water, but morning water is something that helps flush the system. I drink a lot. I'm 6'5", 200 pounds. So I drink a lot of water, and it like flushes out my system in the morning, rehydrates after a nighttime of rest. And so yeah, I encourage everybody to give that a go and experiment a couple days or weeks and see what happens and see how good it feels. So I drink that complete water jar, but the equivalent of 5 glasses of water without hesitation, just like drink it, 5 glasses, and you'll probably go to the bathroom, maybe even a couple of times, but it'll flush out whatever help flush out whatever is in the system, rehydrate you. A lot of our hunger is actually thirst. We're not drinking enough water. We used to probably when our bodies were evolving, in nature, we would probably go down to the river and drink a lot. Lean forward, drink. And that's what we would do. We wouldn't carry around a canteen of water and sip it 50 times a day. We just didn't have those tools. And I think our bodies adapted to going to the watering hole, a couple times a day, drink our water in massive quantities, and then go about our day. We weren't sipping water all of the day. So this is like another way of thinking about this. And if you want to experiment with me doing that, you might find some beautiful results. I've been doing it for several years now, based upon the recommendation of Swami Rama, and it's been working really well. So I encourage you to give it a go. And yeah, so as with our mornings, coming up on 7:30, as with our mornings, we like to do our Wim Hoff breathing. It helps oxygenate the system, bring in a mood of energized presence. It helps remove anxiety and depression. It's being researched by the scientific community as to its anti-anxiety and antidepressive abilities. It's tapping in and creating a more active brain in the survival part of the brain. Instead of it being shut down, we're actually turning it back on again and giving it oxygen and giving it kind of a balance, because that part of the brain has been our survival part of the brain. And so we don't want to ignore it. We don't want to live constantly in our mind agitated all the time. So this really works to help build that. And then I follow it up with a cold shower. And I recommend that you start off with, if you're doing it for the first time, because a cold shower sounds intense, warm up in a warm shower. And then put on the cold shower for a minute. See if you can do 30 seconds to begin with, and work your way up to a minute of cold. And I shoot the water straight into right here, my thyroid, and it really kind of squeezes, I think, the lymph nodes here, and I feel really good. And I don't get sick, really. Like I said, maybe a couple weeks ago, I got sick with just whatever was going around. I was sick for a day and it was gone. And I know other people were sick for like a week or two. So I encourage you to give this a go. So breathing. I like to use this little app from Wim Hof. Again, I owe you all some links to these on the Apple Store. And if somebody wants to share the link to the Google Play store where people can find it on Google Play, I'd appreciate that. Somebody also has the link on Google Play to the Brian Brown Walker I Ching collection. Put that in the comments and then I can share that with everybody. Really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to do our breathing, and our breathing is 4 cycles of 40 breaths. It's a kind of an intense inhale and then a serene exhale. At the end of 40, we're going to expel all of our breath all the way down to 0. And then hold it for as long as you can go. And just be really present and just notice the sensations. And then after you hold it for as long as you can, you take a deep breath all the way to the top, hold it for 15 seconds. And then that's 1 cycle. And we'll do that 4 times. And at the end of the 4th cycle, instead of just doing the exhale, hold, we're going to do push-ups. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start with a deep exhale. Expel all the stale air in the lungs. Now inhale. Big exhale. Start your timer. Inhale and hold for 15. Feels so good. Such a joy to do this with you all. I really appreciate you being here this morning and joining me every day on this beautiful journey to heal our bodies and our minds, our connected consciousness, which is our whole being, not these separate ideas of mind and body. All right, second round. Ready? We're going to do 40 cycles of intense inhale, serene exhale. Hold on the exhale at the end for as long as we can go, and then inhale completely to the top and hold for 15 seconds, okay? All right, here we go. 10 more. 5 more. 'Complete exhale. Yeah. Feeling great, right? Feels so good. All right. Stretch my legs out a little bit. Okay, great. Ready? We're going to do our third round. Ready? Okay. 40 intense inhale, serene exhale, deep exhale at the end of 40. Hold, go all the way down to 0, complete exhale. Hold it for as long as you can go. At the complete exhale, be rarely present. Just notice what's going on with your body. Notice what happens. And at the end, when you can't hold it anymore, take a deep inhale. Hold it for 15. Okay? All right. Here we go. Ready? Exhale completely. Exhale, all stale air. Inhale. Ten more. Deeper every time. Complete exhale. Sorry for timer. Inhale completely. Hold for 15. That was number 3. Right? Okay. Let's do our last round. Our last round, at the end of the last round, what we do is we do push-ups on the exhale. So this is full exhale. I do really slow push-ups. I do, based on this research that was done in Colorado State, slow 5-second repetitions, maximum benefit in the shortest amount of time. All right. And then we do the full 15-second inhale and hold, and that's the end of our 4th cycle. All right, so let's begin. Ready? Full exhale. Then inhale. Start getting into the position of the push-up. Full exhale. Start your timer all the way down to 0. Full inhale. Hold. Wow, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So good. I love doing this with you every morning. You all are such beautiful people. You're such a beautiful person. I love being here with you. Thank you so much. And per Wim Hof's recommendation again, the next practice is we did our push-ups. You'll notice if you do the slow push-ups, you don't do as many, but they're super effective. Now we're going to do a 4-minute meditation. And you can do a meditation where you're just sitting in the calm of the mind. You could use rosary beads or mala beads as little counters to help you focus on repeating a mantra. Mantras are really like affirmations or even afformations, which is a Noah St. John concept of asking a question, a positive question like, why am I so pleasantly pleasing to myself in the company of others? Or, that's a favorite of my friend Satyan, and teacher Satyan. Another one might be, why am I so bold and charismatic? Another one might be, why am I so strong? Another might be, why am I so courageous? And so choose your mantra, choose whatever mental story you want to repeat in your head. The question method is something that then goes into the subconscious, and the subconscious works to answer that question: why you're so courageous, why you're so strong, why you're so pleasantly pleasing to yourself in the company of others. And it reinforces that in the subconscious while you're not even thinking about it, just in the subconscious. And the whole point of a mantra or a prayer is to repattern the brain. The brain is a pattern matching machine. If you study how the brain works, it creates patterns, and those patterns end up repeating. And as we experience the world, those patterns are reinforced based upon what we're experiencing. So if we've experienced trauma, and then throughout the day, we continue to have these experiences which seem like trauma, like the trauma pattern, they will reinforce. If it seems like everything is against us, those patterns will reinforce. And it turns out that what we're experiencing from other people and things in the world aren't necessarily there that we believe that are happening, but it's the patterns of the mind that have us believe that that's what we're experiencing. And I go into this in a number of articles that are coming out in my blogs, so stay tuned. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 4-minute meditation. You can do it seated in silence. You can do it doing the mala beads or the rosary. You can make it a prayer. You can make a meditation. You can make a mantra that you're repeating. And it is super beautiful and effective. So I'm going to use, as I mentioned, this beautiful little app called Insight Timer. It has a little gong, and we all love our apps. So there's a lot of really cool apps. And here we begin. So enjoy our silence as we begin. Prepare, sit, notice if you can keep your body motionless. That's 4 minutes. And yes, you're not totally motionless if you're counting on your beads, and that's just so that people can see how that counting works. You just kind of move your thumb along, and that's how you use these beads. They're a decoration and they're a counting tool. so that's our morning meditation, and we can report our stats in our Vinhop app. And I also like to do headstands. I don't know if you all are experienced with headstands. Headstands, not only do they make your neck strong, but they help really, I should actually read you all something on headstands on a subsequent morning. But headstands are help balance out the systems in the body. So we're going to do a little headstand, and we're going to then wrap for today. And I encourage everybody, if you haven't already, to oil pull. You can use coconut oil, tablespoon of coconut oil. You can use sesame oil. I usually just take a little swig of sesame oil. I just got a nice, beautiful bottle of sunflower oil that was on sale at my local natural food store. So you can use those three are some of the best, and don't use anything like canola oil or anything like that. Just use, I really recommend just use coconut, sunflower, or sesame. Those are really the best, and you can find good deals on those at different places, but incredibly useful, and avoid a lot of dental problems. Clean out your mouth, which apparently is the dirtiest part of our bodies, and have a very fresh breath in the morning with all the bacteria swished out. Okay, so headstand. Go and pile up our towel. Put it in a nice place where we can put our head on it. And I like to do 20 breaths. just rush to the end. And it's another beautiful day. I hold you all in my heart and pray to the divinity in you. Enjoy this beautiful day. Wherever you are, live cheerfully. Bless you. I love you. See you tomorrow morning.